When did the military dictatorship end?
Interesting. It dovetails with the Olympics. You know,
Oh.
the military dictatorship. There was a military dictator from the 60s into the late 70s named Pak Chung-hee. And he was he still is a very controversial figure in South Korea. In many respects, he's credited for modernizing the country, revving up economic growth, but democracy, human rights, other things suffered under his rule. So you had a split between conservatives who support him and liberals who preferred democracy and human rights and tend to not like Park Chung-hee. His daughter, interestingly enough, was the last president of South Korea, the one who was recently impeached and is now in custody. And essentially in the 80s, the military dictatorship starts unraveling. And right around the Olympics, you get the first elections in South Korea. And that dovetails with the end of the Cold War. So a really exciting, vibrant time for South Korea to go from a dictatorship, make a successful transition to democracy. They gain a seat at the United Nations. And the next 20 years, you see them rise as a global power in terms of cultural, in terms of economics, in terms of political, in terms of a democracy. And final point, I would say, you know, one can argue that South Korea is the greatest development and democratic model in the history of the world. Sharpest rise, fastest rise, most successful rise.